With Milford Legion Post 59 playing in Connecticut in the Legion Northeast Regionals, we hope you enjoy this special edition of the Milford Informer dedicated to Post 59's playoff run.
With one win apiece, the two sides would again meet up at Pheno Field for a winner-take-all Game 3. Kevin Martinez was back in the fold for Milford, and he would be called upon to pitch in this all-important deciding game. Runs would turn out to be at a premium in this one. Wachusett would once again take an early lead against Milford. Kevin Martinez would walk two of the first three batters he faced in the second inning, and then with 2 outs, it was Eric Sachs who hit this line drive just past the glove of Dan Mantoni to bring home a run. In the bottom of the third, Milford would have runners at first and third with Dan Mantoni coming to the plate. Mantoni would send a chopper down the third base line. Dan Jancora couldn't make a play on it cleanly and then sent a wild throw to first base that traveled deep into foul ground. Both runners would come home to score, and for a moment, Milford held a 2-1 lead. But after the play, the umpires would get together and rule the ball traveled out of play before the second runner would have had a chance to score, so Andrew McMillan was sent back to third base, and instead of taking a lead, Milford would be forced to settle for a tie by the time the inning came to an end. From there, this game settled into an epic pitcher's duel. Kevin Martinez would pitch into the 6th inning, but after runners reached at first and second with 2 outs, David Sampson would be called upon out of the bullpen. After a lengthy at-bat by A.J. Papandrea, Sampson would win the battle, getting the strikeout to end the inning. It was still tied at 1 in the bottom of the 7th. Connor Gill, who had pitched brilliantly through the first 6 innings, would see Dan Mantoni reach on an error, and Kevin Martinez would then single, putting the winning run in scoring position with 2 outs for Post 59. Joe White would then have an opportunity to deliver a walk-off hit, but instead he took this borderline called strike 3 on a full count to end the inning, and this winner-take-all game would extend into extra innings. Milford would be presented with a golden opportunity to secure the series win in the 8th when Michael Ryan led off the inning with a double, and Brendan Pounds would loop this bunt attempt over the head of the charging first baseman, reaching safely at first, putting the winning run at third with no outs. But Connor Gill, with a pitch count over 100, would get back-to-back strikeouts of Scott DeCapua and Kevin Lynch before getting this ground ball out from Matt Tessina to end the inning. You can just see the emotion from Gill after denying Milford the chance to score. Milford would once again come to the plate with the score locked at 1-1 in the bottom of the 9th. Andrew McMillan led off the inning after pitching a 1-2-3 top of the 9th. He would come through with Milford's second straight leadoff double, and for the 5th straight inning, Post 59 would have the potential go-ahead run in scoring position. After a walk to Dan Mantoni, Connor Gill's day on the mound would finally come to an end. He would receive a rousing cheer from the visiting fans, and even the Post 59 crowd would acknowledge the tremendous efforts of the Wachusett starter. He threw over 150 pitches through 8+ innings. Jordan Tevens would come in from shortstop to pitch next. He struck out Kevin Martinez, bringing the first out of the inning. The infield would then be drawn in all the way around as Joe White would once again come to the plate with a chance to deliver a game-ending hit. Joe White desperately in search of his first hit of the night. If he gets it here, the ball game will end. 1-1 the count. Here's the pitch. It's hit on the ground. It gets past the glove of the second baseman. It rolls out into right field. Crossing the plate is Andrew McMillan, and Post 59 walks off with the win. They win this Zone 4 final and defeat Wachusett in an epic contest. It took more than 2.5 hours to complete, but in the end, Milford would outlast Wachusett in an all-time classic playoff duel, winning in 9 innings by a final score of 2-1. Milford eliminates Wachusett from the playoffs, and they will move on to the state tournament for the 3rd straight year.
A guy on second, nobody out, middle of the lineup coming up. I had faith in one of those 3 guys, 3, 4, 5, getting something done there, and Joe White did a great job staying back on that ball, driving it through the right side, and able to get us the win.
The last at bat, I was just trying to get a ball I could hit, find a hole in the defense, and it came through. I'm feeling good right now. We're playing really good ball, and hopefully we can ride this to the state tournament.
Any team that goes to the state is going to be an outstanding team. It's the final 8 in the state. It's the best 8 of 151 teams, and we happen to be one of them. And our job is the same thing that's been here, and is to go in and play Milford baseball, and hopefully, the cards will stack up in our favor, and we'll be on top. But our goal is Saturday morning, 9:30 against Lowell. Come out and play a great game.
The top 8 Legion teams in the state of Massachusetts all made their way to Feely Field in Sudbury, Massachusetts, the host venue for the 2014 Legion State Tournament. Milford would draw the very first game to open the tournament and would match up against the very same team they defeated 1 year ago to win the state title, Lowell Post 87. Dan Avery once again was called upon to make a Game 1 start. Avery struggled with his command in the early innings. In the top of the second, he would allow a leadoff single to Connor Callery, followed by a walk to Ryan McKennedy. Chris Mansour would then pop up a bunt attempt for the inning's first out, but then Avery would let up another hit, loading the bases for Lowell with just one away. Avery would catch a break, however, as the next batter would hit a one-hopper right back to the mound, and Avery would start a 1-2-3 inning-ending double play. Avery would let up another walk in the third inning, and again Post 87 would be presented with a bases-loaded one-out opportunity, but Avery would strike out Connor Callery and induce this ground ball out from Ryan McKennedy, ending the inning, preserving the scoreless tie. The game would remain scoreless until the bottom of the fifth. Brock Riley, who notched a complete game win over Milford in Game 1 of last year's championship finals, looked to hold down the Milford offense again here in 2014. He frustrated Milford's hitters through the first 4, allowing just 4 hits and forcing Milford to strand 6 runners on. That all changed in the 5th inning. Andrew McMillan and Dan Mantoni would find themselves in scoring position with 1 out in the inning, and Kevin Martinez would break through with this single, driving in McMillan for the game's first run. Joe White would come up next and drive a ball deep out to left field. The ball would end up rolling under the fence, which would cost Milford a run. It would go as a single RBI on a ground rule double, upping Milford's lead to 2-0. That third run would end up coming home to score on a Michael Ryan sacrifice fly, and after 5, Milford would enjoy a 3-0 lead. After a quick top of the 6th, the offense picked right back up in the bottom half of the inning. After a ground ball out to open the frame, Riley would allow a single, a bunt base hit, and a walk, loading the bases before he was lifted for relief pitcher Tyler Schermerhorn. Schermerhorn would be greeted by this at-bat by Kevin Martinez.
Schermerhorn's payoff pitch, and it is swung on and hit in the air out to left field deep. This one's back to the wall, and it's up against the wall. In to score comes Matt DeCina. McMillan hustling right behind. They'll hold. Dan Mantoni at third base. It's a 2-run double for Kevin Martinez, and that ups the Milford lead to 5-0.
That hit highlighted a 4-run inning for Post 59 that upped their lead to 7-0. Lowell would score 1 unearned run in the top of the 7th on this single by Joe Parisi, and the score would remain 7-1 until the bottom of the 8th inning, when Mike Caffarella would come out of the dugout to make a pinch hitting appearance.
Blake Hill had a 2-for-4 day out of this 8th spot in the lineup. Now Caffarella lofts a pitch. This is traveling deep, and it is going to roll to the wall. That allows Mantoni to come around to score. Here comes Joe White. They'll wave Cam Cosette to the plate. He will score. That continued to travel. It got over the head of the left fielder, rolled to the wall, and it's a bases-clearing double for Mike Caffarella.
Dan Avery would end up pitching 7 innings, allowing just the 1 unearned run, and Kevin Martinez along with Cam Cosette would combine for 2 frames of scoreless relief, and Post 59 would put the rest of the tournament field on notice, defeating Lowell by a final score of 10-1.
I just try to hit my spots and keep it low. I thought I did pretty well. I could always get better. There's a lot of the same guys on the team. Very good team. We just got 1 or 2 good innings, and it changed the whole game. Riding high right now. I think we've won 15 of our last 16, playing them all together.
Torrential rains throughout the area on Sunday and Monday forced action in the state tournament to be pushed back 2 days. The teams were finally able to return to Sudbury on Tuesday to resume Day 2 action. After a successful first game, Milford would look to stay on the winner's side of the bracket as they went up against Western Mass team Greenfield Post 81. Early on, it looked like offense on both sides was going to be the story. In the bottom of the first, Matt DeCina would reach with a leadoff single, and then Andrew McMillan would deliver this hit out to left. DeCina would come around to score, and a bobble by Tyler Charbonneau in left would allow McMillan to advance into scoring position. Milford would have runners at second and third with 2 outs in the inning, but Michael Ryan would strike out, forcing Post 59 to settle for just a 1-0 lead. That lead did not last long as Dan Mantoni would allow this leadoff double to Brody Markall in the second. He would advance to third base on a ground ball out, and then Jordan York Welcome would drive him home on this ball hit to the right side of the infield to tie the game 1-1. Greenfield starter Jake Hale would continue to give Milford all sorts of chances to score. Post 59 would have the bases loaded in the bottom of the second. Dan Mantoni would then work his fourth walk in 2 tournament games, giving his team the lead back at 2-1. Kevin Martinez would then have a chance with the bases full, but Hale would induce this ground ball out to short, ending the inning. Milford would strand 9 runners on base through the first 5 frames. Milford would continue to hold just a 3-1 lead into the 6th inning. Parker Hickey would then be called upon out of the Greenfield bullpen to try to keep the game close. Here is how the action unfolded for Milford in the 6th.
Kevin Martinez with a home run in the state finals a year ago. Now drives a pitch into the gap out in left center field. That gets down. Fielded out there by Mark Buck, the center fielder. Crossing the plate to score is Matt DeCina. Andrew McMillan right behind. It is a 2-run single for Kevin Martinez. At least 1 runner in every inning so far in this game, as now Michael Ryan sends a ground ball base hit out into right field. They will wave Kevin Martinez to the plate. Here's the slide, and he's safe just ahead of the tag from Jake Elwell. Blake Hill takes the first pitch for ball 1, now drives a pitch out to left field. That gets in just in fair territory. Rolls for a while into score comes Joe White. Behind him is Michael Ryan. Cam Cosette stops at third. It's a 2-run double for Blake Hill. Here is the 0-1 pitch from Hickey. It is lofted in the air out to shallow left field. Ranging in is Charbonneau. He has to hold up. In to score is Cam Cosette. Sliding in behind him safely is Blake Hill. 2 more runs coming around to score for Milford. They lead this game 10-1.
Those hits highlighted an inning that saw 11 men come to the plate. Milford would collect 7 runs on 7 hits, boosting their lead to 10-1. Meanwhile, Dan Mantoni settled down very nicely on the mound. After allowing 6 men to reach base in the first 3 innings, Dan would not allow a hit for the remainder of his outing. He would surrender just 1 run on 2 hits and would see his defense turn a pair of nifty double plays behind him. Milford's offense would go back to work in the 8th inning. They would once again load the bases, this time ahead of their leadoff hitter, Matt DeCina. DeCina, having already collected 4 hits, a walk, and 2 runs batted in, would drive a pitch deep out to center that would serve as a sacrifice fly. That run would give Post 59 an even 10-run lead, and even in the state tournament, mercy rules continue to be a factor, so the ball game would come to a halt right there. Milford would notch a mercy rule victory over Greenfield with a final score of 11-1. The win would make Milford one of the last 2 unbeaten teams remaining in the state tournament.
Just kept battling. It wasn't one of my best outings. I didn't have a lot of good stuff, but they made the plays behind me, and they certainly supported me, up at the plate. So everything helped, the run support and everything. So that kind of made my job easier, even though I was having a tough time. We're definitely swinging the bats well right now, and actually we're playing well in all 3 phases of the game, which is huge. And if we can keep this rolling, I like our chances. I think we'll have a good shot of winning the state title.
Post 59 collected a grand total of 21 runs on 30 hits in their first 2 wins of the tournament. That set them up with a late evening game on Wednesday night against the only other team without a loss in the tournament, Newburyport Post 150. This game would prove to be a far cry from the offensive explosions we saw in games 1 and 2. All eyes for the Milford fans were on Kevin Martinez making his 3rd playoff start. Kevin would get off to a strong start, striking out Tyler Chasen to open the game. He'd collect the 2nd out of the inning quickly, but walks once again became a problem for Kevin as he dealt free passes to back-to-back hitters before finally getting Cam Toohey to ground out back to the mound for the out that ended the inning. In the 2nd inning, Joe White would commit an error at second base, allowing the leadoff man to reach, but he would quickly atone for the miscue when the next batter, Pat Beaton, sent a ground ball to the right side, and White would start a 4-6-3 double play. That defensive play turned out to be a big turning point in the outing for Kevin Martinez.
In the 2nd inning, I think there was a huge double play. I think there was no outs, man on first, and we hit the double play to make it 2 outs. And anything different happened there would have been a completely different ball game. So that was something big for me. That coming into the 3rd inning, I changed my momentum, changed my mind, and I was ready to go. The rest of the game felt great.
On the other side, Justin Cashman got the start for Post 150. He baffled the Milford bats through the first 3 innings, striking out Matt DeCina and Dan Mantoni in the 1st inning, getting Michael Ryan on a called 3rd strike in the 2nd, and striking out the side in the 3rd in an inning where 2 errors on the infield allowed Milford to bring the potential 1st run of the game to 3rd base. Cashman would end up striking out 11 batters in his outing. Milford was finally able to get to the Newburyport starter in the 4th. After Milford found themselves with 2 in scoring position and nobody out, Joe White hit a slow-moving ground ball on the infield. Newburyport cut down the runner at second, but White beat out the throw to first, and in the back door from third came Dan Mantoni to finally break the scoreless tie. The score was still 1-0 in the 6th inning when Newburyport would have their best scoring chance against Kevin Martinez. Colton Fontaine would work a 1-out walk, and then cleanup hitter Dan Rose would sock this pitch deep out into left field for a double. Matt Tessina got to it quickly and sent a perfect relay throw back to the infield. Fontaine made the decision to try and score all the way from first, which proved to be a key mistake, as the throw into the plate was on the money, and Michael Ryan completed the out after the hard collision, preventing the tying run from scoring. Matt Tessina, who started the play, knew there was little margin for error executing that relay.
I saw the ball was going to get down. I knew I was going to catch it in the air, so I just put my head down and ran to it. Saw Andrew for the cutoff man and just tried to hit him with a good throw, and luckily I did. Definitely practice that, and I practice hitting the cutoffs and working on situations.
Milford continued to cling to their 1-0 lead into the bottom of the 6th. After a high pitch count through the early innings, Cashman started to tire for post 150, allowing back-to-back walks to the first 2 batters. After a Kevin Martinez strikeout, Joe White and Michael Ryan would come through with back-to-back RBI singles that gave Milford some much-needed insurance. After 6 strong innings from Kevin Martinez on the mound, Coach DeVito turned the game over to David Sampson out of the bullpen. Sampson provided all the relief Milford would need, pitching the final 3 innings, allowing just 2 base runners and striking out 5. So after back-to-back blowout wins, Post 59 was able to come out on top in a close one, defeating Newburyport by a final of 3-0. The win leaves Milford as the last unbeaten team standing, ensuring that they will have a chance to defend their state title in this year's championship round.
Rob O'Keefe here, taking over for Tim, who is on a well-deserved vacation. Milford would be matched up against Kingston in Game 4 of the tournament, and Cam Cosette got the nod on the hill. Kingston would challenge Milford early in the first with a man on second. A drive into left field gave Matt Tessina another great chance to showcase his accuracy with a picture-perfect throw to the plate. Milford would get out of the inning unscathed. Tessina was not done yet showing off his skills right away as he rips a lead-off single up the middle, then scores all the way from second after a wild pitch.
The catcher can't find it. It's all the way to the backstop. Now Tessina's going to come to the plate. Here's the throw. It's not in time, and on to third goes Andrew McMillan.
1-0 Milford. A sac fly from Joe White off of Kingston starter Will Gallagher would test the speed of McMillan from third.
On the left fielder to make the catch. Onto the plate comes Andrew McMillan, and he will score. Taking a chance there as that ball wasn't all that deep.
Making it 2-0 Milford. Then Michael Ryan at the plate, looking for a 2-run homer. But no, the aptly named Devon King absolutely robs Ryan of a home run and stops the bleeding for Kingston. Unfortunately, the bleeding was about to begin for Milford. Despite Cosette's early dominance, striking out 6 batters in the first 4 innings, the 5th inning would be unfriendly, as a bad hop with 2 men on would leave Mantoni floored and the game tied. But this ain't Mantoni's first rodeo. He would tough it out and stay in the game, later receiving 3 stitches over his right eye. Then Kingston would add insult to injury as Adam Gay sends this ball on a nature walk into the deep, dark Sudbury wilderness. A 3-run jack that would put Kingston up 5-2. Then, after a string of errors by Milford, following a brief appearance by Kevin Lynch on the mound, and little production at the plate, Milford found themselves down 11-4 in the 7th. But Dan, the man, Mantoni, doesn't know how to quit.
They certainly brought the intensity to this game when Milford could not. Now Dan Mantoni drives the ball deep out to left center field to the wall, and it just sneaks over for a home run.
The solo shot would make it 11-5. Blake Hill would then settle things down on the mound, shutting down batters in the top of the 8th. And then he would stir things up at the plate.
He hits this one deep out to right field, still going back towards the wall, and it's over the wall for a home run. Out to straightaway right field, Blake Hill The youngest member of this post 59 team, fresh off a fine 1-2-3 inning in the top half of this eighth.
A couple of walks and a base hit would chase Gallagher off the mound, leaving the bases loaded for Mantoni.
Back into the windup is Smith. Here's the pitch. It's hit in the air out to center field. Coming in is King. It's going to drop in front of him for a base hit. Coming in to score is Kevin Lynch. Everyone will just move up one base. It's an RBI single now for Dan Mantoni. That brings the score to 11-7.
After a Martinez foul out, Joe White would rip a 2-run single, closing the gap to 2 runs. 11-9 was the score. So the rally was on with the tying run on first. With 2 outs, Michael Ryan at the plate hits one hard on the ground like you should. But the combination of a great stop by the Kingston second baseman and an anxious base running call by Coach DeVito kept Kingston's lead intact. Milford would continue to battle in the ninth, but the early and often miscues in this game would prove to be their undoing as Milford loses it 13-10. It was a game they didn't necessarily need, but it was one that could have made things easier for them in the championship round. Due to unexpected torrential downpours and flooding in Sudbury on Friday night, the final 2 games of the tournament were quickly moved to the only available field, which just happened to be none other than Pheno Field. So now, as if it were meant to be, Milford would have a chance to win a state title on their home turf. But first, they needed to find out who they would be playing against. And in the first game, Newburyport would outlast a tough Kingston team with a walk-off single, which set the stage for a do-or-die championship battle. Milford would look to their veteran starter, Dan Avery, to set the tone on the mound. Avery would throw nothing but strikes in the first inning, as he would strike out the first batter on 3 pitches and then extinguish the next 2 batters with help from the defense. Later in the first, Newburyport and starter Ryan Kutcher would show off their defense as well, turning this nice double play to end the inning.
And it's hit on the ground towards shortstop, fielded cleanly there by Cashman. He gets the out at second base. The throw to first is in time.
Avery then found himself in some trouble in the second, with men on second and third with only 1 out. But it didn't seem to faze him a bit as he struck out the next 2 batters.
Avery ready with another offering. Here it is, and it's swung on and missed for strike 3. Avery calm and collected, ready with the 2-2 pitch. This one in there for a called strike 3 to end the inning. Back-to-back strikeouts with 2 runners in scoring position for Avery.
Avery and Kutcher would battle back and forth and trade scoreless innings. Until the top of the 4th, when Newburyport's Fontaine smashes a long triple just off the tip of a diving Matt DeCina's glove.
Pitch on the way now to Fontaine. He sends it deep out to left field again. DeCina on his horse. He dives. He can't make the play. It's going to roll into the corner. It's extra bases for Fontaine, who hits second base onto third. Here comes the throw. It's not going to be in time. Fontaine able to slide in with a leadoff triple.
But Avery would have none of that, striking out the next 2 at the plate and getting some help from the all-out hustle of Kevin Lynch.
First has to deal with Colby Ingraham, who sends one out in the air to center field. A long run for Kevin Lynch. He dives and he makes the catch for the out that ends the inning.
That play seemed to inspire Dan Mantoni to wake up the offense and the Pheno faithful.
Inning, and Milford has not seen a base runner since. Mantoni hits one deep out into right center field. That gets down for a base hit. It's going to roll away from the center fielder Ingraham. Hitting second base is Mantoni. He hustles on to third base, where he will get there with a stand-up triple.
The always dangerous Kevin Martinez would rip one to right for the first run of the game, 1-0 Milford. But the 5th inning provided little comfort for Avery as he added to his pitch count and let up a run with a man on third, tying the game. Then a sneaky little looper of a hit found its way to the outfield grass, giving Newburyport a 2-1 lead. But as any of the members of Post 59 would tell you, there was never any doubt on this day. Avery would get out of the 5th inning and then shut down batters in the 6th, setting things up for the Milford Bats. DeCina would lead off, chopping one through short, giving the skillful Andrew McMillan the chance to lay down a textbook bunt single. A sac fly from Mantoni would move the speedy base runners up to second and third. With Martinez up next, he would once again shine at the plate.
Here's the 0-2 pitch. It's hit on and driven out to left field. That gets down for a base hit. Into score comes Matt Dessina. They'll wave Andrew McMillan to the plate. The throw is cut off on the infield. It's a 2-run single for Kevin Martinez that puts Post 59 back on top 3-2.
Milford wanted some insurance, but Cam Toohey would deny Michael Ryan of a hit and end the inning. But when you have David Sampson on your roster and a lead, sometimes that's all the insurance you need. Sampson was as dominant as he has ever been in a Post 59 jersey, putting down all three Newburyport batters in the seventh. Then Matt Dessina would add an RBI insurance double.
He's hit. Here's the 1-0 pitch. It's hit out to right center field. Racing over is Ingraham. Barry's over there as well. The dive for Ingraham. He can't get there. Coming all the way around for from first base, being waved home is Kevin Lynch. He will score without a throw.
By then, it was only a matter of time before the one they called Drago would give Milford what they have all been waiting for.
And the fans on the edge of their seat here, nothing into the count. The base is empty, 2 outs in this 9th inning, 1 strike away from repeating as state champions. David Sampson into the windup. Here is the pitch. It's swung on and missed for strike 3, and the ball game is over. Milford storms the field for the 2nd straight season. They pigpile in front of the pitcher's mound. They will repeat as Massachusetts state champions. Everyone now racing in from the outfield. A similar sight to what we saw back in 2013.
Milford wins back-to-back state titles, and now they head to Middletown, Connecticut for the Northeast Regionals with a chance to advance to the Legion World Series.
Honestly, unreal. I can't even put it into words. I'm just so pumped up right now. As a team, we all knew that we were going to go. Not realistically, but we all had faith in our teammates that we were going to be able to make it again. So
It's nuts. It's honestly better than the first time.
Yeah.
Better than the first time, yeah.
Really cool. It's a pretty cool feeling. I couldn't be more proud or happy for these kids. Put it so much time in their summer. They don't have the luxury of taking a lot of vacations, and when they get days off, it's precious. And this is the ultimate goal, the ultimate prize to win the state championship. And I couldn't be happier for them for the work that they put in, and all the credit goes to them. It's a really special thing for them. Something they're going to remember the rest of their life.
Better than the first? No, it's great. It's an unreal feeling, and we just go out and enjoy it, and hopefully we can continue playing well. Now we have another trophy ahead of us that hopefully we can take too.
Oh, surreal, just like the last one. No better feeling than this right now.
Greatest decision of my life playing for this program. It's an honor to be in this program, and it feels so great to wear Milford across my chest and just win the state title. It's not a better feeling than that.
Oh, it's crazy. So now my 3rd state championship in 2 years, and I've closed every single one out, so it's just crazy. It almost feels normal, I'm feeling we're just going to keep winning as a team, keep going in there, don't look ahead to anything, but just keep working together as a team, and we should do fine.
It's pretty crazy. David Sampson, who closed it before we ran out in the 9th inning, he's like, this is like our job right now. This is my job to go close out the games, and he did. And it's just such a good feeling, but there's definitely more we got to do now, and it's great to do it on our home field too.
Incredible. I've only been playing with these guys for a couple months, but it feels like I've been playing with them forever. It's a great group of guys, and wouldn't want to win with anybody else. It's an awesome feeling.
This is Brennan Pounds and Lamar Cones. We're signing off for this year of Milford baseball.
Yeah, state tournament champs, Milford.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go, yeah.